Alright, folks, let's talk about basic concepts. This is what we've already discussed in class, but it's a little bit of review for you in case you didn't catch it all. Now, I may have noticed my handwriting here, it qualifies as not good. It's not good under any circumstances, but especially if I'm using this little stylus thing on the iPad. But hey, we gotta deal with it as we can. So we got the basic concepts here. Now we've discussed some of these already, but let's look at them again. So we got goods. Now, hopefully you remember what goods are. These are going to be the things that you buy. So the actual stuff. So, hey, goods. Look at that. We got all sorts of goods. We got holy cow. I just realized I Googled goods in Google Images, and I took what came up with lots of goods I thought looked good, and thought, oh, hey, look at that. We got some Colgate stuff over here. There's some Vaseline hand lotion. And just looking at this now, I started realizing, that's not English. That appears to be, looks like it's Japanese to me. So, possibly Korean. I'm really not sure. But clearly not the United States. So we got plenty of goods. Well, that's good to know. So we got these goods over here. That's going to be stuff you can buy. Or, hey, we want more. Yeah, buddy, this is what we deserve. These are the kinds of goods that we need. They're baked goods, and they look delicious. We've got some cookies and some rolls, pecan pie, and there's some apple butter spread, and yeah, this is, okay, we're just going to toss that right over there. All right, goods. So we got these guys, right, the goods, the actual items that you buy, and then you have services. And I'd love to show you pictures of services and put them up there also. But it turns out that you do a Google image search for services and you see what comes up. And you wind up having stuff like, this thing. Because nothing says services like a key that says services right next to a page down key. So we're just going to make that really small and toss it over there somewhere. And, let's see, what else did they have? They had, something, that makes equally as much sense. Like people, stick figures, putting together a puzzle, services, because this is what I think of when I think of services is stick figures putting together puzzles for me, because this is actually, I pay people to do this. I don't know if you realize this, but if you've got jigsaw puzzles, you don't want to do them on your own, you pay little stick figures to take care of it. So we'll just make that really tiny also, and we're going to put it over there. But you got goods and services. The services are things that you pay people to do for you. Okay, so not actually providing a good, they're providing a service. So we end up having these two things. Great, good. So we got the goods and services, and then we got the needs, and we got the wants. Okay, now the needs and the wants, right, needs. We'll put it in all capital letters so it feels more important. The needs are going to be the things you need, obviously, to be able to survive, the minimum level, and then you got the wants. We're going to put those in capitals also because, heck, it is important. So you got the needs, you got the wants. Now, one of the things I always find kind of interesting about this is, well, where are we going to draw the line on this? Because you need clothing, well, all right. Does that mean you just get some sort of cloth that's going to cover you up, or do you want something more? Do you want, I don't know, a particular brand that's going to cost more? Because you want that. It's going to be clothing that you need, but you want something more. Or we say that we need food. Well, that's nice. So, hey, food, that's great stuff right there. You got some peppers and some cauliflower and some fish and some grapes, and who doesn't love some of that stuff? So you need food, but do you need all this food? Or even there you say, well, yeah, that's great E-word, but that's all a bunch of healthy stuff. We don't care about that. What about the wants? Well, you got, how about that? That is a Hardee's double thick burger right there. Sucker is something like 1,300 calories. You got a couple of patties on there. You got some cheese. You got some bacon. All right, we'll just enlarge that for you there so you can get a nice close look at its deliciousness. Right, so there's the bacon glistening right there. It's saying, hey, wouldn't you like me? Wouldn't you like a thick burger? Yum. Yum. Yeah, okay, that's good enough. But certainly you need food, but you need this kind of food or you need this kind of food. Is this going to be a want? Is this going to be a want? So certainly looking a little bit hairy right there as far as the distinction is going to go. But it remains there's a limited number of things that you need. Okay, there is a finite number of things that you need. You need food, you need clothing, you need shelter. I don't know, maybe you need some kind of familial love or something like this, right? Stuff like that. And then there's the things that you want. And the needs, while they're going to be limited, the wants you have are unlimited. They are infinite. Let's see if I can draw a halfway decent infinite symbol. There we go. So that's maybe a quarter way decent, a third way decent at best. But your wants can be nearly infinite. You wind up having lots and lots of those. Even if you say that your wants are going to be rather limited, all I really want in life is going to be this thing. That thing. Once you put everybody's wants together in society, then they become unlimited. So yours might be limited, but that doesn't mean that everybody else's are. And of course, once you put everything together, then you wind up having infinite wants. And this brings us into, well, you got the factors of production. I'm just going to write FOP, the factors of production. This is going to be the LLCE that we talked about in class. You got land, you got labor, you got capital, and you got, let's see, we're just gonna, how about we put this over here? That seems like a nice spot. Oh Lord, I didn't plan this slide very well, did I? Newer ship. Hey, entrepreneurship with bad handwriting. That doesn't even look like a U right there. We're just gonna, how about we just cross all that out. That's entrepreneurship. LLC, land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. So you want to have these four factors of production. These are our resources. This is what we make everything else out of. Okay? And so we only have so much of this. We only have so much land, so much labor, so much capital, so much entrepreneurship to be able to produce any goods and services. So you wind up having these infinite wants. You have an infinite want for goods and services, but you only have so much land, so much labor, so much capital, so much entrepreneurship. You only have so much factors of production, so many goods, so many services to be able to satisfy those wants. So this is going to be the big challenge of economics. In fact, this is economics. It's going to be the massive problem of scarcity. Because everything is scarce. You only have so much of this stuff with the infinite wants, and the scarcity is going to be limited resources to satisfy unlimited wants. So a lot of people look at this as, well, economics is scarcity. It is about choice. Okay, why is it? Whoa, let's redo that one. We're just going to erase that right there. In fact, it needs a bigger eraser, so there we go. Well, that's slightly less awful. It's about scarcity, it's about choice. Why it is that you make the choices that you do. So certainly, well, okay, what can we get? Whose wants are going to be satisfied? Are we going to be satisfying the dictators, the governments? Is it going to be satisfying your wants? Okay, because different societies will approach this in different ways. They will decide which one's going to satisfy. A communist system is going to look at its limited resources and say, hey, we're the government, we're the planners, we know what's best for everybody, so we're going to decide who gets what. If it's going to be more of a free society or a capitalist society, they're going to look at it as, well, no. The people get to decide what it is that's going to be available. And, well, if it's not going to be a central planning committee that decides, what is it going to be? Well, in a capitalist economy, it's going to be prices, really, that decide. It's a matter of supply and demand. Okay, prices are set by the supply and demand of goods, and so this is how we ration out those limited resources that we have and decide who gets what. If there's not as much of it and there's high demand for it, well, it's going to be more expensive. So we efficiently ration the goods off through this pricing mechanism that we have. But it remains that scarcity determines that you have to have this rationing at all. Right? It doesn't matter what economic system. A lot of times rationing is seen as being a dirty word, and certainly in a communist sense, in that sort of system, it is going to be a bad thing. But in any system, any economic system, you have to have some kind of rationing to determine how these resources that are limited are going to be distributed to try to satisfy these unlimited wants. Okay, in a capitalist system, in a free society, it's done through supply and demand and pricing. If it's going to be a communist society, the rationing is done by central planners, right? The government gets it decided. But it remains that's got to be decided somehow or another, somewhere. Now, in our system, okay, so we're concerned about choices. So we go and having these prices and this scarcity. So it's not just look at a society-wide level, but it's going to look at a personal level. Why is it that you make the choices you make? So why is it you buy one thing instead of another? Why is it people buy, True Religion jeans instead of Levi's? Levi's are nice. There's nothing wrong with them. So why do they do that? Why is it that they decide to buy Crocs? As we know, this is something I like to hammer on right here, right? The cat's got the right idea. I mean, look at those things. Look, just take a moment and look at it. There. You just felt a little bit worse about humanity, didn't you? You probably felt a little bit better about cats, too, in the process. Okay, but why is it that people buy these? Why is it that people do one thing instead of another? Okay, because your time is going to be limited, your resources are limited, your money is limited. If you use them in one place, you can't use them somewhere else. And even though you've never put it in these terms, we've never put it in terms of opportunity costs, we've never put it in terms of scarcity, it was still there in the back of your mind affecting the decisions that you made. Because you only have so much money available, so much time available, and so you've intuitively your entire life have used your money and your time and your resources in such a way that you were making choices and that you felt maximized your benefit and minimized your cost. This is why you made the choices you did, is because you looked at the trade-offs that were involved. You had a choice between doing A and B, you chose A instead of B. You had a choice between getting up this morning and going to school, or sleeping. So you think about that snooze button, how delightful it is, and you could have hit that sucker a few more times. But you decided to get up and come to school. You didn't want to. You really didn't want to. I don't want to. But you did it because you looked at the benefits and the costs, and you decided that the benefits of coming to school today, education, right? High-minded, or maybe you just want to avoid truancy, or maybe, heck, you just wanted those exemptions, okay? Squeak, no, that was eraser mark. Well, that went away. But it remains the case here that you've intuitively decided that your benefits of coming here were better than the cost. So yeah, it cost you sleep, and that was your opportunity cost. Another one of these big words that are just pivotal when we're looking at economics. Okay, so your opportunity cost, which was the lost sleep that you had, was not good enough to justify you staying in bed. All right, so yeah, it's a terrible cost, but still the benefits of coming to school today were better than the cost. How do we know that was the case? Because you came to school. If you had decided that the benefits of sleeping were better than the cost of truancy and whatever else would have come with it, you would have stayed home instead. You would have stayed in bed. The mere fact that you came to school indicates that you decided the benefits were greater than what the costs were. Okay? So you make these choices and you determine whether or not the benefits are going to be greater than the costs. Now, with this, you're looking at various things. You're engaging in marginal thinking. Marginal thinking, although I really don't like saying that, it's more like thinking at the margin. The problem with saying marginal thinking is if you say something is marginal, you're saying that it's small, somewhat insignificant. And we're not saying that's going to be the case with your thinking. It's going to be thinking at the margin, which means that you're not concerned about whether or not you do something, but how much of something that you do. So you're looking at the costs and benefits of each additional unit. You've already made the determination to do something, now is how much of it. So you've decided to go and spend time with your friends. Okay, great. How long are you going to spend with your friends? That's the question. You look at the costs and benefits of each additional hour, each additional minute that you spend with them. Well, if I spend more time with my friends, great, better friendships, all that stuff, good times. But I could be breaking curfew. Or how lenient are my parents? Do I break a little curfew a little bit, or do I break it a lot? What's going to happen in any case? So again, not whether or not you do something, but how much of it you do. You go to the movie theater, you get yourself some popcorn. It's not whether or not you get it, it is what size you are going to get. So you look at the cost, it's going to cost me more money versus the benefit. I get more delicious, buttery, fake buttery popcorn. Okay? Or you're looking at this all the time also based upon the incentives that you have. And the incentives can shape the costs and benefits that you're confronted with. Here's an example. Let's say that we're talking about speeding. Okay? Now, I'm sure that all of you are good, upstanding individuals who would never, ever speed, of course. And for those of you whom that might actually be the case, the reason you don't is because the incentives is getting a ticket, right? Or catching heck from your parents if you speed. But even for those of you who have decided you're going to speed, which is probably most of you, still there, you're engaging in this thinking at the margin. And you're being shaped here by the incentives that are provided. So you're going to speed, okay, but what are the costs and benefits of each additional mile or 5 miles that you go over? So the speed limit is, let's say, 45. So you go 50 because you say to yourself, well, at that speed, the cops probably won't even stop me. All right, the benefits of getting somewhere faster are greater than the potential costs because the costs aren't even very likely. Oh, but what about 10 miles over? 15, 20, 30? If the speed limit is 50 miles per hour, you're going to be traveling down the road going 80. You could if your car's going to go that fast, but benefits to get somewhere faster. What are the incentives, though? The incentive is going to be that the benefit. Okay. However, we've crafted incentives in such a way to keep you from doing that because if you're going 30 miles over, the costs of that possible ticket are so much worse than what they are at 5. You're probably not going to go that fast. Most of the time, unless some of you guys are, it's usually guys, are going to be going down some of these country farm to market roads at some point. Okay? But these incentives that you are provided, these external incentives that are provided to you, they're going to reward you for doing things right or punish you for doing things wrong or for doing things that they don't want you to do, shape your thinking. They shape the costs and the benefits. They shape your thinking at the margins, excuse me, but they also shape the choices that you make, okay? So it's the choices that we focus in on when we're going to be looking at all of this. It's the opportunity cost that shapes the choices you make. It's the costs and benefits that shape the choices you make. It's going to be the scarcity that shapes the choices you make. This is where the interesting stuff is about economics. It's the choices that people make and why. Okay, not just as a society, but as individuals. If we can try to shape incentives in such a way that will maximize benefit for everybody, hey, if we could pull that off. But if that was the case, we'd be living in a grand utopian society. But economics is hard because people are behave just however it is that they will. So economics is trying to analyze all this and figure it all out. I will leave you with pie. That's some Dutch apple pie right there. Just warm that up, put some Cool Whip on it. You're good.